Welcome to this month's Friends You Keep. As they say, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And at Erin Wellness, we believe that sustainable health and wellness is an accumulation of 5 pillars: the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, daily movement, nutrition, and lastly, supplementation. So each month we feature guests doing exceptional things that will hopefully inspire you to step into all you are destined to be. Okay, well, welcome to the very first Friends You Keep of 2024. I'm super excited today. I have Jessica Jeboult here, from the founder of the Sober Girls Guide. A Sober Girls Guide is your one-stop shop for women who want to change their relationship with alcohol. You will find honest conversations about mental health, self-development, wellness, and spirituality, and how they can influence your journey. Inspired by her own sobriety and wellness journey, she wants to spread the wealth of knowledge. Jessica's mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate and propel your personal growth. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited for this very
New
first
year. Let's
I know.
do this.
I think this is like such an important conversation, especially in January. I think there's so many people who are ready to kind of be like, all right, Christmas was a lot. I'm ready to kind of take a break from alcohol. And
Totally.
before we get started, I want to know, can you tell me about your journey and what has taken you today to even launch Sober Girls Guide?
Oof. I mean, how long do you have? The journey is quite long.
That was 5.
Yeah. And that's I think just even saying that, like the journey was long and
Yeah.
like just so awkward, for lack of better words. Because it was kind of before, sobriety or going alcohol free was kind of cool or trendy. Yeah. So backing it up, I was living in LA. I was a full-time club DJ.
Wow.
I was paid to party.
Yeah.
And that, like, being sober, first of all, even if you were, because like apparently now a ton of DJs are sober, like David Guetta,
Oh,
Calvin Harris.
really?
Yeah. A lot of guys have like come forward and like, actually, I don't drink at all.
Oh,
And you would think like they're like the biggest
yeah.
party of DJs, right? So no one was even talking about it. And I didn't even, so if you don't talk about it, you don't know that people are even experiencing it or like going through it or what that even looks like. So I felt extremely alone.
Hmm.
I felt like I had a lot to lose by giving up
Yeah.
booze.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
No
see that totally.
rhyming. Yeah. But yeah, because it was part of my job. It was then my job bled into my life and my livelihood. So yeah, I really only got like really, actually, no, that's a lie. I was just a bad drunk. Let's just be honest. Um, yeah, but I would definitely drink a lot
Yeah.
during work,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it was all free. There was
Oh,
no
well, in that
saying
case.
no.
Yeah. No kidding.
It was like, yeah, the DJ provides the vibes, and the vibes is like drunk party girl.
Yeah. And even drugs too. I imagine there must have been a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
drugs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
It
know.
was like salt and pepper,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly. They go
hand
together.
in hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of navigating this, I always had this like nagging feeling. I'm like, I don't really want to be doing this, but I also don't know what else to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else is there. And I know that sounds kind of like silly because like it's just the truth.
Mhm.
Like everyone I hung out with was a big drinkers and big drug users. It was just what we
Of
did.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. And that saying is true, like water seeks its own level.
Mhm.
If it's all you know and it's all you kind of like want to do or using or doing to socialize or to, alcohol, the thing with alcohol, it checks so many boxes for so many people. It's not just like, oh, I was getting this out of it. No, alcohol is a really strong connection, and they're like, it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 things that it could be filling in your life.
Mhm.
And I think that's why it also forms an emotional connection. You and I could sit here all day long and we could rattle off statistics about alcohol and how it's not good for us and
Yeah.
how we shouldn't be drinking it, yada, 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 right?
Yeah.
In ear, one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
It's an emotional connection because it's
Yeah.
been filling emotional voids.
100%.
So you can't just use logic to
Yeah.
change your relationship with it. You got to get in there and be like, okay, what is the emotional connection here? Like, there's always legs to it. It's like
Yeah.
the picture of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
You see the iceberg on top of the water, but like the legs underneath
Yeah.
the
Huge.
water,
Yeah.
huge. And that's the same with drinking. And that was definitely true for my relationship with alcohol. It filled a lot of voids.
Hmm.
So living in LA, I definitely, the only option was AA.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't my jam. I never felt great like leaving meetings.
Yeah.
I am definitely a very forward thinking, you know, motivational kind of like I get off on motivational things. And I felt that, and this is just my personal experience. I'm not saying anything, not trying to convince or convert anyone. Um, but I just felt like AA just kind of kept you stuck,
Hmm.
kind of kept you reminding you of all the bad things, all the like shitty things that you did. And trust me, there's a lot.
Yeah.
When you get down to it, when
Yeah.
you open up that can of worms, there's some snakes in there.
Yeah.
So it just felt like, okay, like, yes, I understand I have done maybe bad things, but it doesn't make me a bad person.
Yeah.
And in order to, move past and move forward, like, I just want someone to tell me that the sun is going to rise tomorrow, we're going to have a good time. Your
Mhm.
life can be so much better. And like,
Yeah.
here's how to do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And I wasn't getting any of that from those situations.
Now, when you went to, sorry, one question. When you went
Yeah,
to AA, I mean, because AA is alcoholic. So as well, did you identify
sure.
as an alcoholic, or you're just somebody who had an issue with drinking? You realize this wasn't what you wanted? Because I think that could be
Yeah,
it too, because a lot of people might not recognize themselves as an alcoholic because that they don't want that label, but they realize, hey,
sure.
I don't really like the way I am when I drink. Right. So I think it was that part of it as well, as maybe you did not really identify as an alcoholic.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't think that label bothers me.
Okay.
I don't necessarily like take that on and would use that to label myself or
Yeah.
to like, but I don't not like I don't have any push or pull towards
Yeah.
that label at all.
I just wonder if
I
that's
am
too, right? If that's kind of a big thing, that label of it's like, well, I
yeah,
don't drink every day and I don't, do you know what I mean? Like
sure.
and it's like, so I'm not an alcoholic, but I don't like how I am when I drink. So there's this like kind of that,
But that's the tricky part, right? Like
yeah,
everyone is trying to also define
yeah,
what alcoholism or what being an alcoholic looks like.
yeah,
And unfortunately, I believe it's not just in the numbers,
mhm,
right? Like I have many friends. All my friends drink, by the way.
yeah,
But I have many friends who have no problem drinking 1 to 2 bottles of wine.
yeah,
Technically, that could be considered
yeah,
alcohol abuse.
yeah,
So who gets to say you do?
yeah,
And it could be anywhere from a half a glass of wine to a bottle of wine. It doesn't matter. If you don't feel good about your relationship with alcohol and there's this like nagging kind of feeling of shame or guilt
mhm,
around your relationship with alcohol or drinking alcohol or whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's time to like do something different.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah,
I don't think you have to adopt any labels or put any weight on it if you don't want to, but like my whole thing is I want to open up the conversation and allow people to see that our society does not need to revolve around alcohol.
mhm,
You don't need it to fill these needs and wants, which it's very normal as a human to have needs and wants to begin with. I just want to
yeah,
get that out of the way. Because we've been told like by so many people or society that like you don't be needy, don't like
mhm,
you shouldn't need anything. That's crazy. That's
yeah,
that's bullshit.
that is true.
Right. So having needs and wants, perfectly human, natural experience. And it's up to you to figure out how to fulfill those. And you can either choose healthy ways or what
Unhealthy.
you've been doing for maybe 10, 20 years. Who knows, right?
Yeah. So then you're in LA,
Mhm.
you went to some of the meetings, you realize this really isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I really want. So is that when
Yeah.
you kind of came up with this idea, or were you talking to a sober coach at the time? Did you kind
Yeah.
of started finding out about this kind of sober coach idea?
They didn't even really exist. And
Wow.
but I'm talking this is like 8,
Yeah, that's
almost
true.
9 years ago.
True. Yeah, that wouldn't have existed.
Yeah. It wasn't on my radar. It wasn't like something that I would really tune into, but yeah, I just wasn't seeing anything that was really like hitting home or like, oh my God, yes, that's how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
cool. So what I did is I'm like, well, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only person, woman in on the world, on planet Earth, who's thinking or feeling this way.
Yeah.
So then I started with a blog. I started writing, kind of like almost documenting
Mhm.
things like tips and tricks that I was doing instead of drinking,
Mhm.
like alternatives. I was really into hot yoga at the time. And it was funny because these things that I kept doing also kept hitting different needs and wants, and maybe multiple needs and wants. Like hot yoga, because I would go so often, I also formed this really cool community of people. And so that also like filled that connection void in my life
Mhm.
and finding healthier friendships or relationships.
Yeah.
So you never really know, right? So I was documenting these things. And then I actually came home to Vancouver and I had coffee with a girlfriend from high school. And she's in PR and she's like, so I've been reading your blog. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. And she's like, I love it because I know you. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, where is this going? And I'm a very cheeky, very sarcastic person.
Yeah.
Very. Um, and she's like, I love it because I know you and I can hear your voice and I can hear your sarcasm and your tone. She's like, but if I didn't know you, I would think you're a bit of an asshole. And I'm like, touche. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. And she's like, I would love to like hear, like have a little more context behind like who you are and just maybe like more layers, right? Like writing and blogging is very one dimensional.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So I started social media and then I also started a podcast, which was
Okay.
like the best, like the biggest blessing, really, because I got to meet so many cool people.
Yeah.
As you know, like being an entrepreneur is kind of lonely.
Yeah.
And so you get to like talk and meet and kind of collaborate with a bunch of like really cool people.
Yeah.
And you just use it as an excuse to meet like the coolest people.
Have great conversations.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was like a huge win. And I think like her honesty, I will always like be forever grateful for that. Cause like not a lot of people can get away with like
Yeah.
calling
You're
someone
an
out an
asshole.
asshole, right?
It's true.
But I mean, you can call me anything and I'll be like, is that true? Probably. Probably a little bit of truth in there, but like whatever, right? So yeah, I started the podcast and then I got my certification for coaching and then just everything kind of went from there. And we've just really expanded. And I think, especially through the pandemic, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was very interesting.
Yeah.
We saw a huge uptick in everyone drinking a lot,
Oh, yeah. Lots.
like a lot. And then we also saw this other kind of like the pendulum shifted in the other way, right? Then we were like stuck at home. We were with ourselves, we were with our thoughts and with our feelings. And a lot of people were like, actually, like alcohol ain't doing it.
Yeah.
And it almost sped everything up, right? Like this pressure cooker kind of like of a situation, like having to be with your thoughts, not being able to really like escape or distract.
Yeah.
which I think is the best possible kind
Yeah.
of scenario.
Yeah.
And a lot of people change their relationship with alcohol. It was really cool.
Yeah. Well, since then, I mean, you look at I
Hmm.
mean, natural health, obviously. And so you look at the amount of non-alcoholic beverages and, like the different substitutes they've come out with since
Yeah,
then. It really has happened since COVID, right? If you think
it's
about it, like it's
pretty
just
amazing.
exploded, right? In that category is huge now.
Totally. It's pretty amazing,
Yeah.
like what we're able to do and just a whole different outlook on the situation of and redefining what fun looks like,
Yeah.
what socializing looks like, what relaxing looks like, what
Yeah.
rewarding looks like.
Yeah. You don't
That's
have to be drinking.
huge. That
That's
is a
true.
huge shift in humanity.
Well, and even just before, if you think about it, if you weren't drinking, it'd be like, why not? Like, it's almost like, do you have a problem? Do you have what's
Yeah.
going on? And you have to be like, I'm on medication. You'd have to really think of some
Yeah.
creative things to be like, I can't because,
Yeah.
it's going to contraindicate. And so that's really the only way, right? Unless you
I
were,
just sleep with everyone's husbands. So I like that. That's a good one. If you ever want to shut down the conversation,
I'll
like,
sleep with your husband if I drink tonight.
yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah, I just really have this adverse side effect to alcohol. I just sleep with everyone's husbands. Where's your husband tonight?
Be like, do not give her any wine.
Yeah, good enough for me. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. No
yeah,
problem.
let's
Alcohol
get
free.
you a soda, girl.
So then you got your coaching certificate. So what is
Hmm.
the definition of a sober coach? What would that kind of look like?
Yeah, so I mean, for me personally, I am always huge into like health and wellness and mindset and self-help or personal development, however you want to label it or you want to explain it. And so I personally there wasn't any specific like courses that I actually liked and I thought were like, oh, this is like valuable, that were specific to drugs and alcohol. And I think that's what makes our approach really unique. It is more on the personal development side because, like I said, alcohol is kind of like a symptom of something deeper. It always is, right? Like you don't go from one day from like drinking all like happily and socially to like it ruining your life or just like completely overthrowing and like you're in this like insane spiral of shame and guilt.
Yeah.
It usually takes a while.
Mhm.
It takes maybe it could be a situational thing, but it's a mindset, right? It's habits. We've gotten into, like I said, using something for so long that initially was working.
Yeah.
That's the biggest pull. It
Mhm.
was working. And so now it's almost like unlearning
Mhm.
and finding an alternatives. And so I took a coach based around results. So really working with mindset, working with I'm really into tactical, like action-based strategies
Mhm.
because sometimes it gets a little too in the head, right? Like a little too much mindset work. But we have both sides of our brain. We need to balance out both. We have the logical side and the creative side. And we
Yeah.
need to get both of those sides working together. And so that's what I did my certification in. And then I also wrote like my own programs
Yeah.
that are used now. Our coaches use for group coaching, they use for one-on-one, and then they sprinkle a little of that philosophy and that style into our monthly membership as well.
Very cool. And so how many
Yeah.
coaches do you have working with you?
We have five.
Oh, that's amazing. And so they do everything
Yeah.
from one-on-one to the group aspect as well. And is it
Yeah.
all online or do they all, well, I guess it would have been
It's
online.
all online. Yeah. And
Okay.
it's really cool because, we have just talking about, even our membership, we have women from literally around the world, Germany, Australia,
So cool.
everywhere in the States, Canada, everywhere. And you think that, like, oh, we're so different. Like, no one understands what I'm going through, or my story is so different and unique, which, yes, it
Yeah.
can be. It's unique to you. But when you all get together and these women from literally every part of the earth.
Yeah.
The thoughts, the feelings, the experiences are all the same.
Wow.
And you come together and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Well, and you're
Like me, I'm like, I can't be the only
yeah, I
one
can't
out
be the only
here.
one. And is so if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't necessarily want to quit drinking but redefine the
Mhm.
relationship, they can still they don't have to, it's not like
Oh
you have to
yeah.
stop drinking or to join the club. It's like
No, not
anybody
at
who wants
all.
to basically step into a new relationship can come in and have the support from that, right? I guess
100%.
that's incredible.
Yeah, and I think that's also something that I was lacking when I started too, with AA. It was so strict. It's like if you drink again, you're gonna die. It's like, okay, not like huge on fear-based,
Yeah.
changes because they just historically don't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to rebel against that? That's
Yeah.
just our
Exactly.
human nature. So why would I set the whole thing is like, let's set you up for success,
Yeah.
right? And so our whole thing is we meet you where you are.
Mhm.
Again, we're not here to convert anyone.
Yeah.
If you want that, we can arrange it. But that's not our mission here, right? We're here to open up and show you the possibilities and opportunities that maybe redefining your relationship or changing your relationship with alcohol can look like.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so you have one-on-one, you have
Hmm.
group, and then you also have a membership. And so the monthly membership, they would just kind of get weekly different tips and tools and strategies, that type of idea.
No, a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Very much more, which is, this is like, again, we want to meet you where you are
Yeah.
at. I think our membership is definitely the best on the block. We have live support circles Monday to Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, you can jump in there and they're all led by our coaches. So you have that support. You can ask them anything. They are more of an open format type situation, type meeting. And so it's very warm, it's very welcoming. It's like, hey, what's going on with you right now? How can we help? Or even you can sit back and listen. I find listening to others' experiences or listening to other people talk and maybe articulate their feelings helps you to even articulate
Yeah.
what's going on. Because most of the time, we don't even know what we're feeling.
Yeah.
And that's hearing other people maybe hit the nail on the head can also be
Yeah.
your huge aha moment.
Yeah. And then you guys also, do you have
Mhm.
coaching? Do you have certification for coaches who want to be sober living coaches as well?
Yes,
Very
yes.
good.
So that we open those doors about twice a year.
Yeah.
Um, Not really sure. We got a lot of stuff going on right now,
Yeah, no
and right
kidding.
now
Sounds like it.
yeah. So I'm just kind of trying to balance that. But yeah, twice a year we open our doors. So I would say, check the website or obviously Instagram. We're
Yeah.
always updating and really good at that. But yeah, that has been really, really cool to see. I mean,
Very
it's just so rewarding, right?
not kidding.
Like kind of paying it forward. Like these
Yeah.
women, all of our coaches are sober, so they have been through it. They know what they're doing. They've experienced it firsthand, which I find very important.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's also hard. I think a lot of women maybe want to talk to their therapist about it, but most of them don't
Yeah.
because maybe the therapist hasn't experienced that in their lives,
Yeah.
right? And when you don't experience something, you can only talk about it through textbook
Yeah.
or through like I've heard or they say,
Yeah.
right? And so it's a little different experience. So we're all women for women who have
Love that.
been through it, helping you
I
pay it
love the
forward.
for women by women. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
So speaking of, it was interesting. I was looking at a stat and they're showing that alcohol
Mhm.
use is increasing in women in their 30s to 40s. It's into the younger
Mm.
generations actually kind of going down. So I think like my daughter's age, like I don't think they're out getting like, I'm sure they have drinks here and there, but it's just different, right? Than when I was a teenager, we were
So
like stealing
different.
alcohol and from my babysitters, the whole thing, right?
Oh yeah.
I think and I'm wondering the 30, 40s, if it could be that there's a really strong mummy culture mummy wine
Hmm.
culture that really happens. Have some wine to cope with, or your mummy juice, or those kind of things. And do you
Yeah.
think that's what really is kind of leading the way on that? Like, and do you think that's one of the reasons why that 30s to 40s tends to be increasing?
Yeah, I think it's also, I mean, first of all, let's just talk about the younger generation. They're smarter than us, and they're supposed to be,
Yeah,
right? That's
exactly.
evolution.
Yeah,
That's just evolution. Um, and they don't see the value. I
yeah,
think because of that generation of the 30s to 40s, they've been sold the value of alcohol.
that's true. That's a very good point.
And I see that time and time again when people maybe make comments or complain about non-alcoholic drinks, and they're like, well, why do I have to pay the same amount for a non-alcoholic drink as a regular drink? I'm like,
That is
what
something I
are
do
you
have to question.
valuing? Yeah, but also like what are you valuing? Are you
Yeah,
valuing
exactly.
like the craft
That's true.
cocktail that a
That's true.
bartender has made and mixed the
That's true.
same as an alcoholic cocktail,
It's true.
right? So it's
Yeah,
where our values lie.
yeah.
And I find with the 30s, like you were saying, the mommy wine culture, they've been fed the value of alcohol. And the
Interesting.
youngers haven't.
Yeah.
They just
Well, I think
haven't.
even with my 30s and 40s, like when I had Michaela, I mean,
Mhm.
there was a group of us, we lived in a, complex in Burnaby, and there was like 10 of us, and we would get together like every Friday, drink like
Mm.
clockwork. You know, what I mean, it was our time together. And so I think about that now. And now it's interesting because now I'm obviously going into my 50s, and I still enjoy drinking, but yeah, it's just interesting how that was a big part of our connection.
Mm.
Not only were we moms, but we all got together and we would drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's
And
interesting that the 30s and 40s are doing it kind of again.
yeah. Yeah. And I think to your point, like that is a huge need and want connection,
Yeah. And then a lot
right?
of times we feel awkward. That's our one way to not feel awkward, become more relaxed. I think that's
Right.
the thing too, right? And
Well,
social.
you numb your senses.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
So
of
you're not
course you
100%.
become relaxed. You
Yeah,
become
exactly.
like you literally melt.
Yeah,
You're melty. But yeah, I mean, connection is a huge need and want,
yeah.
especially like you said in that part, that pivotal point in your life. You have kids, right? You're probably overworked. You're stressed. You got a lot of balls in the air. You're trying to juggle it all. Connection really helps being around like-minded women who are doing the same thing. You don't feel guilty for drinking because all your neighbors are.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then also you can sit around and talk about the same things that
Yeah,
you're interested in, right? And like you all have kids, common
yeah,
denominator.
yeah, exactly.
So that's a really strong, really, really strong that connection part is huge with alcohol.
No,
We've
that's
been fed that value.
well, and we know the risks with ongoing alcohol, right? So we know
Sure.
high blood pressure, stroke, liver, digestive problems, all these things. I know now, when I
Mm.
do my seminars and I talk about perimenopause, I ask the women, I'm like, are we the same? Do you think we're the same in our 20s as we are now? Can we do the same thing, get the same results? And everybody's like, no. And I'm like, one of the biggest indications for me
Mm.
is my hangovers. Like from my 20s, my hangovers in my 20s, like I could get up like a champ and go work a trade show floor, even 30s. But now
Yeah.
I've found like in my 40s, late 40s, I don't function well. I am not on all cylinders. Like even when we're doing trade shows now, I don't drink anymore. And before I was the
Yeah.
one like leading the bandwagon. I'm like, let's go. We'd all go up partying until 3 in the morning. We kind of stand in our booth and kind of keep it together. And I'm just like, I am not, there is no way I am doing that anymore. Right. And just
Yeah.
different that how much that changes as we get older. And there's so many women I meet who can't drink wine the same way, who maybe enjoy it, but just can't because their body is
Hmm.
just not metabolizing it as it once did. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's also like you can't, like the physical aspects of it, but I think probably as you mature, right, and you grow up and you're very, very involved in your business and
Yeah.
it sounds like you're very motivated to succeed.
Yeah.
Do you want to be numbed out and
Yeah.
hungover at these
Yeah.
trade
Well,
shows?
you can't be.
Probably
You just
not.
can't be, right? Like you pay a ton of
Yeah.
money to be there, and even just day to day, right?
Yeah.
That's why 2 years ago I did January to March. And part of me is like, I think I'm going to go a year. And then I went out with some friends, like I had a glass of wine. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that didn't work. I'm like, but
Yeah.
you feel so great by taking that break. I think everybody who's doing dry
Hmm.
January will also, by the end of January, they're like, God, I feel so great. And it's harder. then you're kind of like, because it's like Anthony Robbins talks about this, is that pain pleasure. As humans, we're always drawn to pleasure,
Hmm.
right? But then pleasure, we're realizing actually is in feeling really great all the time. You
Yes,
know? But
exactly.
there is that
Yeah.
pressure for social connection when you're out with people and everybody's having a drink and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely the FOMO can show
yeah,
up,
yeah,
but also like it's also an easy button. A
yeah,
glass of wine is also instant gratification,
yeah, that's
right?
true.
Usually when you're in the moment, usually when you're in a social situation, it's a knee-jerk reaction. You're
Yeah,
not thinking about how, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not going to be my best tomorrow. You're
yeah.
not thinking of how you want to feel or how good you've been feeling without it.
Yeah.
You're literally like, well, everyone else is doing it, so I'm going to jump off the bridge too.
Well, then speaking of that, and we're looking at strategies. So
Yeah.
you're at a party, and of course you don't, maybe my guess is maybe taking account of this before you go into a party of like, okay, like how do
Yep.
I want to feel tomorrow? How do I maybe having that little bit of a conversation with yourself? Is that something you guys suggest to people?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Having a bit of structure. And I know a lot of people, when I even say the word structure, they're like, ew, gross. Like, ugh, I don't want to limit myself. Like, I just want to be like easy free. Yeah.
Free.
Yeah. First of all, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little secret. Having a little structure in your life allows you
Yes.
even more to be that easy breezy kind of girl that
100%.
everyone's trying to achieve. Right? I don't know why. Like, that's just one of the main things that comes up. Like, I just want to be cool and relaxed and chill. First of all, I know I'm not chill. And
Yeah.
it's taken me a long time to be okay
I
with
am
it.
not chill either. Me neither.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty intense. I get people say that to me, like, you're really intense. I'm like, am I? I don't think I
Yeah.
am. Not me.
No,
My
I would
800
embrace that
lists.
intenseness. Yeah. I love it.
It's taking me a while
Um,
to enjoy it too.
yeah,
Embrace it.
it takes you a while, right? And I think everyone wants to be this easy, happy-go-lucky, like casual, nothing bothers you. And I don't know, again, why we've been fed that
Yeah,
that
like that
is
narrative.
so, yeah, that's so important or that's like preferred. I don't know. I prefer picky women because I think there's nothing more attractive than someone who knows what they want and has standards for themselves.
No,
That
that's
is
very
the
true.
sexiest thing.
Yeah. And has boundaries with all
Yep.
things in life, right? Yeah.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. So, okay, yes. So having a bit of structure in your life and maybe, like you said, going to a party that night, having, knowing when you want to arrive, knowing probably when you want to leave.
Mhm.
How are you going? Are you Ubering? Are you driving? Best bet would be to drive yourself so you
So
keep
then you
yourself
definitely, yeah,
accountable.
true.
Yeah. So all these little things that like can come into play when we are prepared.
Yeah.
I think prepared, like I said, allows you so much more room to then improvise and have fun and be easygoing because you know where you want to be, you know where you want to go, you know the basic structure, the framework.
Mhm.
So yeah, being prepared totally works. Bring your own, what we're talking about, so many incredible alternatives.
Yeah.
We are so lucky.
Yeah, we really
Like
are.
we really are. So bring something that feels special. I would advise something a little bit more than just sparkling water.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I am chock full of sparkling
Yeah.
water. I'm good,
Yeah. No, I agree. I
right?
agree.
Something special, something that makes you feel unique and that you're treating yourself, right? Think of why we're drinking. We want the reward. We want to feel like it's something special, something to relax, something to socialize with. Bring something that is different than your normal everyday beverages.
And then you put in the fridge too. I mean, I really like, I
Yep.
actually competed against him at Launchpad with Opus. Yeah, owns
Oh
Opus.
yeah.
We both
Yeah.
pitched at Launchpad at CHFA. And I see
Yeah.
them everywhere. He's done a really great job with his company. And
Yeah.
and his flavors are really good. Some of it I find I have to be honest with you. Like I love gin so much that I want to
Right.
do something that tastes like gin. I've tasted some of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
why would you want to taste something that tastes like gin with no out? Like the whole point of it, really
Yeah.
give me something really super great and tasty. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like also something, you don't have to drink the direct
Yeah.
alternatives, I like
Yeah.
to call them. There's so many, there's kombuchas,
Yeah.
there's
The
like
kombuchas are good.
sparkling teas. There's just so, there's like even bitters that are really
Yeah.
cool,
Bitters are
really innovative.
really good for your digestive system as well.
Totally, totally.
Especially
So there's
you might
so
be having
many.
treats too. So if you're at a party and you're having, a bunch of cheese or things that make your
Yes.
stomach, right? You're
Yeah,
lactose intolerant, you
totally.
have to bring your own snacks, bring your own drinks. You like show up with a little backpack.
Yeah,
You're
bring your
like,
own cooler.
you're at a party. I've got all my own
Totally.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Turns into a picnic.
it's like, who's the person in the corner? She has like a little
Yeah.
basket and everything. It's like, this is the no alcohol zone. You can come over
Yeah. You have your own like fold out table. You're just setting up shop.
here.
Oh
Umbrella.
my God, that's
What
hilarious.
is your favorite mock? Do you have a favorite company that you enjoy drinking, or is there a favorite brand that you really like, or something you can recommend?
Oh my God. That's the problem. I love everything. But okay, I will say I am on, and this happens on a yearly basis, I find. I just get so enamored with kombucha. Like I just love it.
Mhm.
And right now I'm on a grape kick and I am just loving GT's Divine Grape.
Oh, okay. And where do you get it? Is it
Obsessed.
available at like stores,
Everywhere.
foods, everywhere?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. GT, he is incredible and he is killing the game, the
From
kombucha
here?
game. He's not from here. No,
Okay,
he's from the States.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But he's like the OG of kombucha.
Yes,
GT's
very tasty.
kombucha. Oh,
Write that
the
down.
grape. Mm, I can't. And the also the color of it is so beautiful and it looks so good in like a stemless wine glass. I
Uh,
just love it.
And it
Yeah.
bubbles too, so it's bubbly as well, right? Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
It's
well, that
great.
take note of everybody who's
Yeah.
in this coming January.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a very visual person too, so
Yeah,
it
so
has
then
to
it's like
like
have
look
some,
good.
yeah, and want something nice and sparkly in a glass, so then you kind of don't feel like you're maybe the
Yeah,
only.
and you also can't chug it,
Yeah, yeah, you can't chug
and
kombucha.
you also don't want to chug kombucha. I learned the hard way.
Well, that's one of the things I've always struggled with. I eat fast and drink fast, right? So that's one of my things.
Yes.
Is I mean,
Yeah.
yesterday I was at a girlfriend's open house and I had some sparkling wine, and the girl next to me, I had it filled at the same time. I was done with it. Like I drink fast. That's another thing.
Yeah.
My mom does too. That's why my mom does it.
Why?
I don't know. I just drink. I drink and I eat fast. And so it was probably when we were younger.
Okay.
It was if I look at back with my family and growing up and everything too. It was I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just this thing. My dad ate fast. We all ate fast. And so even
Did
me,
you grow up with boys?
I have two younger
Your
brothers.
brothers?
I have two younger brothers though. So if anything, I was the one who would take their food. But
Okay. I find men just in general always eat fast.
that's true.
Like they just eat so fast and then they'll actually just leave you at the table and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? What's
I think
happening?
that's it. Right. My dad would leave. So we're all like trying to eat as fast as we possibly could. But yeah,
Yeah,
drink fast.
totally.
My mom does really fast. Like that's why she can't ever drink alcohol. She won't because she knows she'll just get tipsy right away and she has no tolerance. So
Oh
but I
no.
have to really pay attention to that too, because even just I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to have a Diet Coke to break that up. I can have like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I'll just sit there and keep going.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, I've had like way too many because I drink too fast.
Do you find you overeat because you eat so fast?
I used to when I was younger. That's why
Okay.
I was really, really heavier set. So I struggled with
Okay.
bulimia for 25 years. And that was
Gotcha.
my thing, right? So my parents
Yeah.
put me into Weight Watchers at 13. So they were trying to help
Wow.
me with my food because I would eat so much. I remember I was telling my daughter this yesterday. I said, I remember when I
Yeah.
was probably 8 or 9 and going to friends' houses, and my dad would say, only seconds. Do not go for thirds. Well, guess what Aaron did? Thirds, fourth, fifth. So I'm like, and I just see him looking at me. I'm like, looking at my brother Tenzin, I'm
You
like,
can't
eat
say
more too.
anything. Yeah.
And then, and then on the way home, he'd be like, and he'd lose his mind. But in that, I got attention from him every time I did that. Right. So that
Mm,
was my
yeah,
gratification from that. So I try to
totally.
be a little more present now. And in the sense of structure, that was one of the things that helped me work through my bulimia is having structured meals. I really had to have structured meals at all times. So I didn't
Hmm.
do the not eating and then binge like crazy. I had to make myself have breakfast, make myself have lunch. So I had structure. And so I operate very, very
Yeah.
structure. So that's something that works really well for me.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, we wrote, my mom and I wrote a
Yeah.
book. Well, I wrote the book. My mom wrote it with me called Believe Me to
Yeah.
Balance. And we went kind of through everything. And she's a counselor. So she went back to
Okay.
become a counselor. So now she's like, oh my God, I can't
Wow.
believe we put you in Weight Watchers at 13. Right. So
Oh,
we had a
but
real,
you don't know, right? Like,
no, you just think you're helping. You think you're helping.
yeah.
I mean, now I would, and I can't even imagine be like, guess what, Michaela? It's
Yeah.
like, there's all 30-year-old women and
Guess
then
where you're going today?
Weight Watchers. It's like
Yeah.
everything's fine. You're okay. You're just gonna go into this meeting where they're gonna weigh you and then talk about food. Like,
Oh,
what? Right?
that's
So
like my worst nightmare. I
it
hate
is, yeah.
scales. I
I
think
know. I
scales
have
are
no,
such a ripoff.
scale. I have no scale in our house. And I have a
No.
lot of friends who use that as their kind of their barometer too. They're like, oh, I haven't lost any weight. I'm like, oh my God, throw it out.
No.
Throw it out. Right.
Yeah.
Rely on yourself and listen to your gut and listen to like what's working for you. And in that,
Yeah.
that rolls back even to like the what you're kind of saying. If something doesn't feel right with you, like food or whatever, if it's food, if it's drinking, if it's sex, if it's work, right? And
Yeah.
I was talking, I'm going to ask you the question too about balance. Like, how do you find you
Hmm.
maintain balance? Because I really feel like I had one guest who talked about this, that there is Paulina Cameron. She doesn't believe in balance, but what she believes is in being 100% completely present in whatever she's doing, and that gets her balance. I thought that was a really great way
Ooh,
of defining balance, right?
totally.
Because we can't be balanced. We like really, let's be honest, it's almost this
Yeah.
unsustainable like cloud we have.
Yeah.
How
It's a myth.
do you find balance? How do you find balance with things?
I've actually become to like, I really like not balance. And I find balance in appreciating the fact that I will go like, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I will literally work nonstop for 7 days, every day. And I'll be okay with that because
Yeah,
then maybe I'll take off like 5 days or like I find that I'm constantly redefining what balance looks like for me at different parts of my life, different seasons. Like
it's true.
I don't put too much effort into it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I just don't, it's kind of a waste of time for me.
yeah. I like
It's just
that.
my personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I've got
Yeah.
three questions. So,
Okay.
what's one thing you would tell your 20-year-old self?
Oof. You don't need to try so hard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear that. I hear that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what makes you inspired to be your best self?
I think hmm, what makes me inspired? Okay, this is gonna sound extremely egotistical.
No, we'll take egotistical. Love egotistical.
I think myself. Like
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
yeah,
always like maybe in competition with myself
yeah.
because I know how I want to feel and I know how I want to show up and I know my capability and my capacity
Yeah.
pretty well. Yeah, I think inspire
You inspire
myself.
yourself. I like the fact you inspire yourself. I love that. Great answer. Nobody's ever said that, so I really love that.
Really?
Yeah, nobody's ever said that.
Okay,
I love that. And what
cool.
is your favorite swear word?
Oh no. Can I say it?
Yeah, of course you can. I want you to.
I think like motherfucker.
Motherfucker. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people say fuck.
Yeah, I think just like I don't know why. This like it sounds like so good. It sounds like so satisfying me. Like just oh motherfucker.
Well, they
Like
say
it
there's a
just
cortisol release. Like there actually is a thing that
oh
happens
yeah.
in our body when we swear. So I think it's a good thing to swear.
Yeah. But although I can't swear that often, especially the F word, because my dog is extremely sensitive to it.
The F word?
Yes.
Really? Why?
It like he just thinks something is wrong and he will literally
Aw,
like crawl up and be like, "Oh my
aw,
God." Like he panics.
aw.
And so like if I want to have like a fit,
You can't have a fit.
I will literally have to like go into another room or like go away from him because I it will destroy him. It will destroy him. And I've done it before and I just look at his little face and he's like Please, lady, what is happening?
Don't swear anymore. I can't take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Is the world ending? Is it happening now? Yeah.
Like a Southern Baptist pastor in a past lifetime or something.
Right?
Or like a
I'm like,
Catholic
what is,
preacher or something.
yeah. And maybe it's my deal because like I don't really have outbursts that often.
Yeah.
And so when I do, he's like, whoa,
Yeah.
like rocked.
Yeah. When we freak out, I don't
Yeah.
freak out that often either. So I could see that too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Maybe I just need to freak out.
I just need to freak out on a regular basis and just desensitize him to it. Just start getting angry
Totally.
all the
He's
time.
like, that's your mom. There she goes, popping off.
Get used to this. This is why I'm doing. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing
Yeah.
this for you. Um,
Just
all right.
deregulate your nervous system all the time.
So,
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for coming on today. This was absolutely incredible. And then
Thank
I
you for
want you
having
to
me.
give me your plugs. Where can people find you? What, especially go check out your website. You have a great website, by the way, and
Thank
you have an
you.
incredible following on social media. So I think everybody needs to really tune in and follow you and check out your site. And if there's something you're looking at redefine your relationship with alcohol, you are definitely the person that they need to reach out to, especially, well, if you're a woman, sorry, but
Yes. Anyone who identifies as a woman,
there you go. That
we
works.
got you. We got your
Yeah,
back.
there you go. So tell me, where can people find you?
So our website is a sobergirlsguide.com. Instagram is a sobergirlsguide. And Facebook is a sober girls guide. TikTok is a sober girls guide. I think that's it, right?
Twitter? Are you on Twitter, X, whatever it's called?
No.
I really don't do
No.
much.
I'm not an Xer. I'm just nah.
Yeah. I know TikTok's hard for me to get into too, but I love
Yeah.
Instagram. Instagram's my main. That's where I
Same.
channel my stuff through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's my favorite.
thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
And it's a great conversation. And for everybody else, tune in next month on February. We'll have another wonderful guest. And again, thank you so much, Jessica.
Thanks.
Take
Thanks for
care.
having me.
No problem.